Hi, are you an author in the middle of self-publishing your next book? Somewhere along the process, you've probably heard about creating an audiobook. You've been encouraged to make an audiobook. You know friends who've made the investment in creating an audiobook, but you can't bring yourself to get started because getting into the technical weeds just seems too daunting. But what if we could take that all away? What if we could remove 90% of the technical barriers, so all you would have to do is show up to the microphone and record? Or maybe you don't want to record your own audiobook. That's totally fine too. We have an experienced team of professional narrators that would love to audition for your audiobook. Our Done For You service guarantees that you will have a professionally produced audiobook ready for commercial release. If you're ready to get started today, please click the link below and schedule a free call. We can't wait to hear from you and to get started on your project.
Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement podcast. That was one of our sponsors. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, follow, do whatever you like to give us more eyes on our pages and be helpful and excited and gratitude and everything that we've been talking about. As always, we are sponsored by Soul Sunshine. Be sure to visit us at soulsunshine.com to make your publishing dream become a reality. Hi, Susan.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well. I have had some nostalgia come up in this last few months that have been like really good, really good. It's like, you remember that show Quantum Leap?
Of course.
Yeah, when Sam had to go back to right a wrong.
Yep.
That's what it feels like. It feels like all these people are coming back to like right or wrong from past mistakes. It's like, it's exciting. It's been happy. It's been
that's
exhilarating.
pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is cool. I've been happy about it. It's just been like heart palpitations and flutters of okay, well, right on.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Very cool.
It does. How's your week going?
It's going okay. Actually, it's going very well. And we just published a brand new book that I am really excited about.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I mean, I really anticipate some great sales of this book. It's about a dragon and a boy and his dragon, but that's not the name of the book.
Boy and His Dragon. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
You also got you had a meeting about your upcoming mini series, I guess we can call it. Got some moving forwards with that.
Yeah, that's going well, and I'm looking forward to the next milestone in the process, which is the screenwriter will have a copy written, the first draft of the pilot episode for the miniseries.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, me
today
too.
we have a kind of first. We have had two people on the show at one time, but one wasn't really a part of the show. It was her son, and he couldn't really participate as much. But it'll be a first for us having a couple on with us, and they've written a book. It's called The Unbreakable Marriage. So without further ado, let's bring our special guests in. Hello.
Hi.
You're gonna be upset with me, and I apologize for this, but it's Jeeva and Sulojana.
Yeah.
Close enough. All right. I was going in my head like, I know how to say
Good
it.
try.
I know you're supposed to say the J. I know you're supposed to say the J, but how is everything else going to go on?
Yeah.
Sulojana. See, I knew you said it different. There was an extra syllable in there. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. Yeah.
Beautiful. You guys are our special guests. You're Pastor Jeeva, Sam, and Sulojana, Sam. See, I'm gonna get it. I promise. You guys are the authors of the book, The Unbreakable Marriage. So why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and let us know about you guys?
Okay. So, as we've heard a few times, we're Jeeva and Sulojana Sam. I served as a pastor for over 35 years before retiring in 2017. Sulojana and I have been married for over 41 years.
Nice.
Celebrated our 41st anniversary last August.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And we have 3 children. They are all married and 1 grandson,
Nice.
almost 15
nice.
months old. Yeah.
Boys or girls?
1 boy. Yeah.
Well,
The children, 1 girl and 2 boys. And then grandson.
Yeah, our daughter just turned 40, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
Wow. You guys do not look old enough to have a 40-year-old kid. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Time flies. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So as to my understanding, you guys are marriage mentors. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how we call ourselves. Yeah.
Okay, so how did you become marriage mentors?
Okay. It's a bit of a long story. I'll kind of give you the Reader's Digest version, if possible.
All right.
So we never set out to do anything with marriage. But a number of years ago, there was a very popular movie called Fireproof. And in the movie Fireproof, there was reference to something called a 40-day love dare. And people who watched the movie wanted copies of this 40-day love dare so they could work on it and enrich their marriages. The only thing was there was no such book as 40-day love dare. They only had 4 dares in the movie. So the screenwriters had to very quickly come up with the book with 40 in it. And it caught fire. The Christian world really took to it. And a Canadian Christian television station approached us and said, hey, we want to do something novel with this. Rather than just introduce people to this book, we want 3 couples who actually walk through it on a daily basis and do a vlog at the end of every day. And would you be one of them? And so we said, yeah. Actually, Sulojana has a slightly different version of it.
Yeah, first I thought it was just a one-time interview. I didn't know about the 40-day. And in those days, I didn't want to be on a screen, on a video. So anyways, we did it. I thought if that's what God's calling us to do, we'll do it. And we had to do a video every day, and we did it. And yeah, people came to know about us, because they saw, people started following all the videos. And, after it was all done.
Well, even while it was going on, they would write us and ask us for advice.
Nice.
And we're like, hey, wait a minute. We're not here to give advice, but we'll definitely pray for you. That's the best we can do at this stage, because that's really what we set out to do, was to just share our experience with them. But after the series was over, then, as Sulojana said, our visibility went up. So wherever we went, people would stop us, especially Christians who watch the show. Hey, aren't you the couple that was did the love dare? And we'd say yes. And Sulojana would say to me, you know what? I think God is calling us to do something with marriage ministry.
So this was like a show on the television in your country?
Well, it was actually like there's a very popular, actually it's the longest running talk show in Canadian history. It's called 100 Huntley Street. And so they added this, to their programming. So it was not a separate show, but they would interview us from time to time. So we'd provide updates. But they set up a website where we would post all our daily vlogs. And so people could follow us along on a daily basis for 40 days.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it's a kind of neat idea. And so I told Sulojana, listen, Sulojana, the last thing we want to do is to work with married couples in distress. Trust me, in my pastoral years, I've run into them, and I was still pastoring at the time, and they will suck the life out of you. Let's stay away from anything to do with marriage.
Yeah, this kept on going for a while. Even people in our church, they would say, I think, you guys should do that again, because it helped us a lot. Same thing, it kept on going. And then a few months will go by, there was nothing happening. And then when somebody asked, I would tell Jeeva again, I think God's calling us. That was just the beginning of something, you're going to do with the marriage. But Jeeva wasn't ready at all. So
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah. So what?
few,
Yeah,
even a year, 2 years later.
yeah. So I was mentoring some Christian business people and people who are high achievers, just helping them to seek God's wisdom for their business. Speaking to them prophetically and so on. And they were doing really, really well until it seemed like they all hit a plateau.
Mm.
And so it's like I was puzzled because they were doing all the right things and still not moving forward from glory to glory as they ought to. And so when in my quiet time, I was just asking, okay, Holy Spirit, what is going on here? And I heard him say very clearly, ask them about their marriage. And when I asked every one of the guys about their marriage separately, they all admitted that there were issues. Like nobody was, committing adultery or anything like that. But the connection was not strong enough between them. They're neglecting their family life and so on. And it felt like God was saying, you know what, if they're not walking in unity, how can I command my blessing on them?
Mm.
And so that got my attention, got their attention. We still didn't want to make anything formal come of it. I just gave them some help and so on. And then again, you see, the year or two later, all of a sudden, I kept getting these like SOS calls, and they were bunched together. It was about 4 or 5 in a 6-week period, and these were people, some of them high-profile leaders. They said, "Hey, we know you can help married couples, and we don't want to turn to anybody else because of privacy and confidentiality issues. We want you to mentor us." And at that point, I said, "Okay, God, I think you got me cornered. I will, I will agree to do this." So that's really how we ended up becoming, doing something with marriage. But of course, we're not trained counselors. We don't have any background in therapy or anything of that nature. But we do have experience,
Well,
in marriage.
experience is the greatest teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we thought, okay, we could teach something. And again, we completely relied on God, for the curriculum, if you will. And so we were actually flying from Toronto to Los Angeles to attend an event called Azusa now there. And on the way, somewhere 38,000 feet up in the air, all of a sudden I started getting that download.
Oh,
And I took out the iPad and just started typing it all out. It didn't all, flow together at that point, but then I shut the iPad out. And when we looked at it 2 days later, I told Sulojana, I think we got the outline for what we're supposed to teach couples. So we just made a quick Facebook video, put it on, and said, "Hey, anybody here looking for help? This is what we offer." And a couple came forward, and voila, our marriage mentorship was launched.
very nice. Very nice. Now, you guys are in an arranged marriage, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us more about how an arranged marriage works.
Yeah. See, in an arranged marriage, it's two families coming together. And, it's not like here, two individuals. It's really two families coming together. So, first of all, the parents will get together and talk over about things, like, or that's how the parents meet is there can be a marriage broker or friends, that know our families. They'll say, "Oh, your son might be a good match for the daughter." So that's how the parents will meet. And also, if it's like in our case, it was a marriage broker. So my dad would say, it's got to be a Christian family because there are Hindus, Muslims in India, where I grew up, and then they'll say things like they even match the education, and also my dad was very strict: no drinking, no smoking, those kind of things, and the family background, they try and match those kind of things up. And then the parents, once they are satisfied, the marriage brokers think, okay, what they are asking, this, the son or the daughter will match, or the families will match, and then the parents will meet. And then they talk about things, and there's dowry involved too. So they talk about those kind of things. And when they're happy with everything, then, in lots of cases, even the children don't get to meet. But in our case,
you trust your parents' judgment, and of course, that's all you know.
Yeah.
Like even today, I believe, like I'm hazarding a guess that 90% of marriages in India are still arranged.
Oh, wow.
And in our day, it was maybe more like 97, 98.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's all I knew,
Yeah,
the arranged marriage.
Yeah. So we just knew that our parents, they would do all
Mm.
the due diligence and find the right match for us.
Mhm.
And after that, it was up to us to make the marriage work.
So when did you two first get to meet after all the arrangements and everything happened? Is it like at the wedding day you finally meet each other, or do you guys get to meet each other prior to that?
No, we actually met about 2 weeks before.
Yeah, because Jeeva has been here in Canada for 7 years already, and he came back to India well, not really to get married. They came
Went
for
on
a
a holiday,
holiday.
yeah.
Yeah, and at that time, Jeeva's parents asked him, should we be looking for a bride for you, or they'll say proposal.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so
Yeah. And so in our case, like I insisted that we needed to meet and have at least a quick conversation. And so our broker had to do all the tough negotiations with her dad. And he finally agreed that we could actually meet and gave us 15 minutes max.
Wow.
So we used to joke at that point we had the longest courtship in history in India. A full 15 minutes.
Now, with arranged marriage, if there was no chemistry in between you guys, is there like a way to get out of that, or is it just, well, get used to it because you guys are getting married?
Well, because we trust them so much,
Yeah.
It's funny because words like chemistry don't even show up in the Indian vocabulary
Oh,
when
wow.
it comes to marriage.
Okay.
It's almost more the compatibility of the families.
yeah, I think it's
As much
background.
over the compatibility of the children. Obviously, we both have a veto power, and so if they had said, "Hey, here's who we think is a good match," and if for some reason either of us felt, "No, I don't think so," then we could say no.
Yeah,
No.
our parents would ask us. Yeah, after they've talked about it, they did ask us. But there are families, they don't even ask. They meet on the wedding day. Lots of, especially the Hindus.
It used to. It used to be. I don't think it's quite that way anymore. But,
No, that's true. Yeah. And then gave us 15 minutes and
once we said yes, like it took a couple of days for me to really say, okay, I think we're ready for it. Then in India, everything gets arranged very quickly, like all the wedding celebrations,
Wow.
the community chips in. So it was no more than 10 days after we made the decision
Wow.
that wedding bells were ringing. And
the engagement is a big ceremony as well. So it was done within a few days, and then the wedding after that was a week after that we were married, and and Jeeva had to come back here.
yeah,
You guys
so
said 41 years together, you said? You have now?
yes.
After meeting for 15 minutes. I love that. Now, just out of curiosity, you guys said you have kids. Did you arrange their marriages as well?
No.
We offered to, but they were all born and brought up in Canada, so they all politely declined our kind offer, and all found great matches, great spouses on their own. So we just had to raise them right to make sure that when they got to that stage, they knew how to pick them.
Yeah, I think after they dated for a little while, they did come and ask us, what do you think about, me marrying this girl? Especially our sons. They did, the two of them did ask us, right?
Yeah. Because there's quite an age difference between our daughter and oldest, like the older one and the next one. So the boys lived at home with us for a longer period, and so we were a little bit more involved in their lives, and so and so they got our blessing, like even our daughter's present husband, he did call and say, like, I'd like your blessing to marry Priya, and so they all married with our blessing, but we had no really say in who they picked.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So then arranged marriages, and then your kids, they got to choose who they got to marry. What can we learn? Sorry. What can we in the West learn from the success of arranged marriages?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think one thing, we've been asked this question before. One thing for me is, how the parents are involved. Now, parents look at things from a different level. There's no emotions involved. They are more matured. They see things differently. that's something, maybe children here can get, like if they're not comfortable with the parents, maybe somebody they trust, somebody, their pastor, or somebody in their family, some relatives, they can check with them. Hey, I'm dating this person. Maybe get them to meet them a few times. And what do you think? Because that way there's no emotions involved. Because when you're young and you're dating, you don't see those red flags, right? But somebody else might see something,
I'm
Yeah.
46 and I still don't see those red flags, so it's not a young thing.
Well, I think in the West we are too focused on the whole thing about falling in love. I must feel something before I can love somebody. And of course, with maturity, you discover that love is not a feeling. The feelings of love can go, but love is always a decision. It's a commitment that you make, and then you keep it. And so the in the long run, some of the things that seem to matter the most, like good looks and having that little whoo, kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
A lot of it can be very simply like chemical reactions. Matter of fact, there's scientific evidence to show that the whole feeling of falling in love is really a love. It's a love cocktail, that your brain produces that makes you feel that way. And of course, if you expect that feeling to be there all the time, especially when you're going through rough times and so on, and come to the conclusion, well, we're not in love anymore, therefore we cannot make this work. Like, that's a wrong conclusion. And so there must be something stronger than just the feeling of being in love to anchor, the marriage. And that's one of the biggest things about the arranged marriages, is that it's like, hey, we're gonna find a way to make this work.
Yeah.
And also remember that if you were living in India, for example, all of our families, extended families would be very, very close to us. So they take responsibility in making sure that we have that community that we need, that will actually help us to stay together. There's always an uncle or an auntie in the family that you can go to that'll give you the right advice. And so to me, that, as Sulojana said, having someone else in your life who can provide you with that guidance, whether it's somebody in the family or not just in the dating period, but even after you are married, rather than try to resolve everything on your own. Like, that's something that like I believe people here can learn from arranged marriages.
I think that boils down to respect, where the community respects your marriage, so they want your marriage to succeed, so they're going to help in that aspect of helping your marriage to succeed.
Yes.
I think a lot of times here in the West, where we learn is disrespect, and you have people who will talk to people who are married, and then as they talk to them while they're married, then they'll try and win their love for them, and then the married person will then say, oh, I feel what you said, the chemical reaction of the love cocktail go in their brain and say, it's over there where I want to go. So they're going to bar hop from studio to studio until they get that range of emotions, like you said. As somebody, though, who does enjoy sipping from the love cocktail, I suppose, I enjoy that feeling, but I also understand that it's just momentary. There's going to be times that it's going to be difficult, and it's in those times where you really find your marriage and you find your relationship and you work on building and the trust. You trust that you are not doing it alone, that somebody else is there with you, and that you push them up and then they push you up, and you both lift up together rather than one person up here and one person down here. So I appreciate exactly what you're saying. That is very cool. You need to market that.
Another thing it seems like that happens in situations like that is you begin to feel safe in your marriage, which a lot of times here in the West, because the emphasis is so much on, continuing to feel the feelings, sometimes you don't quite feel safe. And, you feel like things could turn on a dime, and that just makes it worse. So I think, knowing that other person is committed and is planning to stay with you forever, and that's just the commitment that was made, can help a person really sort of relax in the marriage. And I don't mean let down and live like a slob and do whatever you want. I mean just and on an emotional level they can relax, and which I think is a kind of a good way to live your marriage, in a relaxed, very trusting relationship.
Absolutely, 100% agree. If you are happy with your marriage and it's not something that you have to worry about, then that is one less stress in your life. That I'm over here, okay, they raised the rent this month, so we need to figure out how we're going to work a little bit more. You're not worried about your marriage, like they raised the rent this month and she wants to go out and have a party. Well, we can't do both. Or they raised the rent this month and he wants to sit around and play video games. So I think that having that, not having the marriage in the back is a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said something about marriage problems. So what can we, wrong one. Sorry about that. What do you say that there are, or why do you say that there are no such thing as marriage problems?
Okay. And so this comes out of our experience of mentoring couples. When couples come to us, they're always focusing on problems that were created in their marriage. So, like he's been doing this for such a long time. She has not been doing this. Like they try to pin the blame on each other. And so it's like all the problems got started after we got married. And one of the revelations that God gave us, which is one of the foundational principles in our marriage mentorship, is that you do not focus on the problems, within your marriage before you address the problems you brought into the marriage. So it's a little bit like the baggage that you bring, when you come in, because all of us, no matter how old or young we are when we get married, we, are the sum of all our experiences. We are the sum of all of our beliefs, the belief system that were instilled in us, by our parents, by our church, by our cultural background, whatever. And so we bring them all in here. And unfortunately, sometimes, this is one of the discoveries that happened to us when we started mentoring couples, is how many people have gone through like sometimes unspeakable trauma, in their childhood. Like no child should have, experienced any of that. And it's not the trauma or the hurt, because I think, everybody will get hurt at some stage or the other. But when you come into the marriage with those hurts unhealed, and so you're still smarting from those wounds, then your spouse can say something innocuous or do something that they have no malicious intent, and you will read something, like big into it and blow up. And it had nothing to do with your spouse. It probably had to do with something that happened, with your parent or with a sibling or something like that. And so our philosophy is that let's first of all help you address the problems that you brought into the marriage, who you are, and get you healed up and cleaned up. And when both of you now relate to each other from a place of healing, you'll treat each other very differently than when you relate to each other from a place of hurt, because the axiom is hurt people hurt people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why we say there are really no such thing as marriage problems. But if you two people with their own problems coupled together in a marriage will give birth to what they would label as marriage problems.
I don't know. I got stinky feet, and that seems to have been a problem in the past. So that could technically be considered a marriage problem. But I like that. I mean, so many times, so many people get into relationships and they haven't fully healed from their previous relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So people who have open wounds are bleeding on the next person, and it's not the next person's fault.
Yeah.
No.
One thing that we have to remember is communication is key in every single relationship. I don't care if it's a marriage, a business partnership, or just a friendship. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to say what you're feeling. And I think going back to what you were saying about emotions, a lot of people don't accept their emotions. A lot of people will say, for instance, I don't like this. And rather than saying, well, let me try and change that, it's uh, come back of, well, I don't care if you don't like it. So they don't have that emotional investment of anything into it where they can just say, okay, well, what don't you like about it? Maybe it's not this actual thing that they don't like. Maybe if it's a food, for instance, they don't like a particular spice that's in it. And if the next time you cook it, you don't put that spice into it, then they like it even more. And so you solved one problem right there by not having cilantro in your tacos.
Thank you.
And Stephen, I just want to add one more thing about that, because communication, you hit on something very, very powerful there. It's communicating with transparency, and that's what we're talking about here when we talk about the problems we bring into the marriage. Because when you're transparent with your spouse, about some of the things that you have experienced, sometimes people don't do that because they're like, oh, if I bring that out, then maybe he won't like me, maybe this marriage is not going to happen.
Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh.
instead it's like, no, when you become vulnerable with each other, to that point, your partner will actually admire you more. And and there's a switch that flips that says, how can I now help my partner heal from this, and how can I treat them more gingerly, simply because they have experienced this before. So how can I make sure that this doesn't keep on triggering them? And so that communicating with transparency is a huge, huge plus, rather than where it can sometimes be perceived as a serious minus.
There you go. That needs to be a clip shared to every marriage group out there, man. That is absolutely beautifully said. Thank you for sharing that. I want to read your book now. So tell us about the process you use to help couples achieve breakthrough from breakdown.
Yeah, yeah, it's a 12-week process. In the beginning, um, we teach them how to change the spiritual atmosphere in their home. So so there are about 10 different habits that that we teach them, and they have to make sure they're doing that every day. And we have a spreadsheet where they have to check it out.
Yeah, and
And
maybe just add something there about why this is the first thing that we do. It's a little bit like a greenhouse effect. If you try to grow plants in a house, in a greenhouse, where there's a lot of smoke, where the conditions are not right, then you can use the best growing methods, but you will not get the results that you want, because the atmosphere will stunt the growth. And
Oh,
yeah, so one of the things we realized is that, like, a lot of couples that come to us have actually already been through counseling, therapy, they've done seminars, they've gone to retreats, but they're still not able to make it work. And that's where we got this revelation. I believe it's God that showed us this, saying, hey, if they're trying to put all those things into practice in a toxic atmosphere, then they will not be able to either get the results or sustain the wonderful results that they got while they were in counseling or at the retreat or wherever. And so that's why, this is the starting point, is let's get the negativity, out of there. Let's add more, things that will be welcoming of the Holy Spirit, that will help you to grow, in your walk with Christ as well as in your marriage.
yeah, yeah. So some of the habits are like, getting into the Word and spending quiet time with God, gratitude, praying together. Lots of these things. There are 10 different habits, and lots of couples are not doing them at all. Some of the simple things, we thought everyone should be doing. So they, we make sure they get into a habit, and make sure we want them to do for at least 6 weeks, so that it becomes a habit for life, not just for that time being. Yeah.
And the next step of the process is, to us, is often the key, which actually goes back to what we said about the marriage problems, because now we help them to go through and really identify what are the obstacles that are keeping us, from communicating, from enjoying each other, like all those things. And so we call them like really removing spiritual blockages. So once, and this is an intensive process, it is something that we help the couples do on their own, but we've discovered that that often is not enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when we send them to, the therapy, other sort of extra help that they need.
Inner healing.
Inner healing. Yeah. Inner healing is a big thing. It's a must. All the couples that come to us. Yeah. Yeah. It's a must. That's why, lots of them get their breakthrough once they get through the inner healing. And, lots of forgiveness prayers goes with that. Because, they come with so much unforgiveness. That is a big part of this inner healing process. Yeah.
And once we get them cleaned up, and at that point where there's nothing hindering them really, then we teach them how to communicate properly. Because if we did not do this first, then they can learn great communication processes. But after a while, this old stuff, the old demons will start popping their ugly head, and it'll sabotage everything. And so now we can teach about communication. We teach them like patterns, proven patterns that will help them resolve conflict, every time. And from there, we can move on to like some of the issues that couples are dealing with, which is not having enough time for each other. So how do you make time for each other? There's a lot of arguments and conflicts happening around money. And so it's like, so how do you put some parameters in place? How do you put some patterns in place? So that like whether you have lots of money or little money, it doesn't matter. They still have conflicts, and it's because they have not really set up a plan of to handle financial decisions, which again goes back to what you said, Stephen. It's about communication. And so once they communicate well or learn how to communicate well, establish some good habits, set a budget together. And then monitor it together and make adjustments as they go along, and of course
common account, also like a joint account. Lots of couples, there are still they have their own account, so they don't know what the other person is making, where the money is going.
Lack of transparency, lack of transparency will always lead to issues. And of course, like a lot of couples come to us with sexual dysfunction. Like we've had couples come, they don't even want to, like they don't want to sit close to each other. We put them across the table or even on a Zoom. They maintain the distance.
They're in
different rooms, Zooms. Of course, they don't want to touch each other, let alone have sex with each other. And so it's like, so we need to help them. And what happens is often by the time you remove all the blockages and create this new atmosphere, then we can look at them and we'll smirk at each other and say, I think they're having sex again.
That comes a little easier, once they've gone through all the other process. It comes naturally.
But even in the sexual area, like today, there's all sorts of issues that maybe previous generations didn't have to deal with. For example, pornography. And so people get exposed to pornography at a much younger age and bring into a marriage unrealistic expectations, about sexual performance and so on. So we help them address that. And the last thing that we do, which is again very important, is setting proper boundaries. Because unfortunately, people realize they haven't set boundaries when they are broken. And sometimes it's a little I wouldn't say it's never too late to completely fix them, but the damage can often be awful. And it could have been avoided had they just had one civil conversation along the way about what are some boundaries that we're going to set and observe and enforce in our marriage.
Absolutely agree with that. Setting boundaries.
Yeah.
But when you set your boundaries, don't keep moving the boundaries. If you set it here and they go, well, I'm going to push it here.
That's true.
And you're like, okay, that's fine. No, it's like, here's my boundary. You cross it. Peace out. You're gone.
Yeah.
You can have a chance to make up and things like that. But I also think that it takes two people. If one person is trying their hardest to fix everything and the other person's like, I'm going to go find the grass greener over here.
Yeah.
And the person over here is watering the grass. And even though it's brown right now, all of a sudden it's going to be green in a matter of a few months. the person that went to go look for other green grass is just moving from lawn to lawn to lawn to lawn. And I think, especially nowadays with social media, there is a tension that comes with posting a picture, posting a sad story, posting a victimhood mentality, posting something that gets attention.
Yeah.
And they will get that attention.
Yeah.
And that, I guess that would be the first ingredient of the love cocktail is attention. And the more attention that is poured into it, the more that people will start to do it. And then that marriage will start to break apart because of going otherwise. Now, do you guys know a Benjamin Verberg?
No.
They're watching right now, and this
Oh.
sounds like such a needed and wonderful ministry. So, looks like you gained a fan out there on a Benjamin Verberg who's
Thank you,
watching this right
Benjamin.
now.
We'd love to
Hi,
connect with you.
Benjamin.
Mhm.
Be sure to follow us, and after the show, we'll give the information so you can reach out with them and
Mhm.
carry on your journey into future on there. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying this
I know
conversation.
Benjamin is one of our Soul Sunshine authors.
Ah.
Awesome.
So I'm
Benjamin!
happy to have him watching.
My bad, I should have known that.
Well, not necessarily. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. How are you able to help couples achieve their breakthrough in such a short amount of period of 12 weeks? And you said 12 weeks. But before I do that, I did also want to touch back onto our New Year's resolution this year was gratitude. We didn't want to, and we didn't really say it as a resolution. It was just we wanted to have more gratitude. And I think that is a big thing right now, that people are not thankful for just the little things anymore. We're so plastered in social media where somebody has millions of dollars and they're doing these big things, and they're not people that we had in the past of like a movie star that had a certain persona or a certain look. It's like these are regular looking people that give the idea that a normal, regular, everyday person can make these millions of dollars and do all these things. And because they're not there yet, they don't have that gratitude of, you know what, I've got 10 people who follow me on a regular basis, and they come into every podcast and they talk, and it helps their lives out. So I'm thankful for that, as opposed to I've got 5 million people and I'm only getting conversations from 10 of them. I mean, big difference on there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that you said gratitude. That's our word of the year. So 12 weeks. How do you get a breakthrough?
Yeah. So Sulojana hinted at one of them earlier on when she talked about the habits that really create that a conducive spiritual atmosphere. And one of the things we insist is that once we give couples a couple of weeks to get used to those habits, and then they need to maintain those habits on a daily basis and provide proof that they're doing all the assignments. So we set up a Google Sheet for them where they check off every habit. Every day they must do that for 63 days consecutively in order to qualify for the guarantee that we offer them. Then we also set up a Google Drive with the folder where they have to send us, proof that they have done all the assignments we asked them to do. So the key word here is accountability.
Yeah.
So we maintain very strict accountability. And when couples maintain that strict accountability with us, and I have to admit to you that I don't think there's any couple that has done it 100% for 63 days in a row. But they have done them long enough that these habits then become a part of their life. And by the way, there's no mystery to the number 63. A lot of people give Dr. Carolyn Leaf credit for coming up with this idea that when you repeat a habit 21 days in a row, it'll become a part of you, because there's new neural pathways being established in your brain and stuff. Well, what she actually says is that's just the beginning. When you repeat that 21-day cycle 2 more times, so 3 21-day cycles, 63 days, then that is actually going to become a part of you. And if you don't do that habit after that, you'll feel like something is missing in my life. And so that's what we want couples to do for the short time that they spend with us, that they get to the point where, writing something in the gratitude journal every day, like that's a habit. You can't get past that. If you don't pray together, we feel like we missed something, and because we want them to practice these habits for the rest of their lives. And so what the other thing that we do, Stephen, is even though the 12 weeks is intensive, meeting with us on a weekly basis, midweek checkups, and so on, we have another 12-week period, another 3-month period where they're still in the mentorship. We meet with them on a monthly basis. And one of the things we always ask when we meet with them is, how are you doing with the daily habits? And so because the threat of that question hangs over them, then they're more likely to keep on practicing them, which is actually the best thing they can do for themselves. But because, they're paying for their mentorship, then that's also the best way to get the bang for their buck.
Yeah, the other thing I feel like, what helps them a lot, like we talked about quite a bit, is the inner healing. The inner healing probably is one of the unique thing that we do in our mentorship, where we make sure they go and get the healing that they need from all the trauma, the abuse, everything going back to childhood. And that's why, they are able to get the breakthrough in a short time. And after, they go through the inner healing, they are ready to learn those new things that we talked about also, with regards to their finances or communication, and those kind of things, setting boundaries. So these are some of the major things that help them get the breakthrough in a short 12-week period. Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And being in therapy now for almost 2 years, I've discovered things about myself that I didn't like about who I was previously, and things that I had to accept of who I was. And I never had any red flags before, and like I said, and I never set any boundaries, and I just let people walk all over me because I always wanted to keep them happy. I always wanted to say yes and yes and yes, and as long as they're happy, then I'm happy. And a lot of the cliches that you hear from marriages and things like that, and I really thought that's what it was supposed to be. My next question on that one is, and I don't have this one to put up on there, is that when you send somebody off to go heal their traumas from the past, that takes time as well. I mean, it's not just going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen within 5 sessions. That's a process that has to go through.
yes.
While they're going through that process, are you working with both of them so that way the marriage can heal as well?
It actually varies from couple to couple. There are couples that we have said to them, guys, let's not meet for the next few weeks. Focus, on the therapy, on the inner healing mechanism, because like you're just you're at a point where not even able to do the things that you want to do, and that's usually a sign that there's something not quite right inside of you. And so sometimes we've had them take a break and then come back.
Not for too long.
No, yeah, but we still maintain communication with them,
Yeah,
even when we
that's
give
right.
them those few weeks of a break from our process. We still communicate with them on a weekly basis, and we try to meet with them, at least once a week, even when they're going through it, but maybe for a shorter period of time. Do some check-ins, give us some updates on what's been happening with this healing process they're going through. What are some things that have been unearthed, and also to make sure they're communicating those things with each other, because part of the process is they're doing them separately. And so it's like, hey, tell your husband, what you discovered in the last one. Oh, wow, really? I didn't know that you had gone through that, like that type of thing. Yeah.
But during that time, we don't give them any new homework
Exactly.
to do. This way, they can just focus on that therapy or the inner healing. And and then when they come back, we'll kind of continue.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, just out of curiosity, since we are starting with curiosity and encouragement, have you had a couple where you're just like, man, those two are not going to make it at all? Y'all are better breaking up.
We have never said that to a couple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we believe that with the power of God. As a matter of fact, one of our couples actually said this very well. She said, if God could bring a dead man back to life, then he can resurrect any marriage. And
Oh wow.
Yeah.
yeah, and so we so that's not false hope. That is a very real promise.
Mhm.
And the factor that actually makes it happen or not is the couple's determination, to
Yeah.
work through it.
Exactly.
So one of the
Both of them
yeah,
have to be.
yeah. So sometimes we have to give people a little perspective. Like not that long ago, I was talking to a couple where he's just around 40 and she's a few years younger, and they're getting this point of wondering, like, did we make the right decision to get married and so on, and maybe we should start anew. Like that kind of thought process is beginning to crop up. And so I said to him, listen, yeah, you guys are still under 40. So according to like statistics, you both have at least about 40 to 45 years of life. Your lifespan is going to be another 40, 45 years. So what if you take 2 years to work through all the stuff that you're going through, get cleaned up, you're going to become way better people than you were before. You're still going to have about 40 years of a great marriage together. And so don't come to the wrong conclusions based on what you're going through right now, because with time, like, so let's say you do decide to go your separate ways, you're going to get back into you're looking for the cocktail again. You're starting the process all over again. And if you go in there without all this healing, you're going to inflict the same pain on somebody else.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the perspective of time, take a year, take 2 years right now, get everything taken care of, and then enjoy each other together, grow old together, rather than, go apart right now.
That's definitely the goal. But how do you get over something like infidelity?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
It's not
coming to
easy.
find out that majority of relationships right now, especially marriages, end in infidelity.
Yeah. It's
And
not an easy thing. And the person, the couple we are dealing with, the one who committed adultery, or still having an affair, he has to make up his mind. He or she has to make up their mind that they're going to break that off, and they're committed to the marriage. There was one couple we still remember. He was not ready to give up the other affair or the other relationship. So we right away we said this is not going to work. And
Yeah, like no matter how well we mentored them,
Mm.
he had already made up his mind that his life was going to be better with this other woman.
Mm.
And so even though we did not counsel anything to them,
Yeah.
with time we kept in touch with them. We did find out that like he had moved out and decided to set up a new life with this other woman. And so sadly, at that point, she had to accept the fact that she could not make this work. But we've also seen other couples, who again, the key word, they have the grace to be able to forgive the person
Yeah.
and say, what, you did this, and like all we always say, what, you can never completely pin the blame on one person. So in this case, she had to look at herself and say, what are some things that I did or did not do that contributed to my husband having to look elsewhere, for the attention. Stephen, that is a really key word, because most affairs start with attention that they're not getting at home. And so she had to admit her responsibility in that. But ultimately, you're not excusing the guy for doing what he did. It's not because she did this or didn't do this that he went and did it. He made a conscious choice to cheat on his wife. And so now she has to make a conscious decision, to forgive him when he came to her, with that repentant heart. So it does take a lot of grace, to forgive. And then, you have to get your own healing, because you've been inflicted a huge wound on your soul.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, they were answering your previous question, Stephen. Have you had anybody that you had to tell them this relationship is not going to work? Like Jeeva said, we haven't done that, but we have. I think two couples that we remember. One of them, one person wasn't doing all the homework. Every week there was an excuse. I had other homework from school, and he was going to. This person was going to school. Anyways, we said, I think it was 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We said, if you're not doing the homework, this is not going to work. So we had to kind of stop that mentorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one I couldn't
Yeah,
quite
that's
remember.
okay. Yeah. But there have been times when we've told people, you know what, this mentorship is not going to produce the results that you are seeking because you're not willing to do what it takes to produce those results. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so rather than continue and then one day bad mouthing us and saying, well, we worked with the SAMs, but we didn't get our breakthrough.
Right.
Well, let's not even get to that point.
Yeah.
and let's just let you exit gracefully.
Yeah.
I agree. What you were saying about accountability. So
Mhm.
responsibility and accountability are a pie, and you're each responsible for half that pie.
Yeah.
So when it happens, you have just as much accountability and responsibility towards whatever goes on in there on both sides. And I think a lot of people tend to forget about that. There's a lot of people out there who get cheated on and then don't see that maybe if I would have listened more or been more attentive or been available more, things like that.
Mhm.
And guys especially, I if you're listening out there, guys, listen, and don't just listen to like, yeah, whatever. Listen, they will tell you what they want, what they want to hear, what they're feeling, and you have to accept that. And emotions are things that we all feel. We all feel emotions, and 9 times out of 10 people take those emotions and they don't allow themselves to feel it.
Yeah.
Fantastic conversation, guys. I really love you guys on this.
Yeah.
Thank you for this.
Listening is another important skill in a marriage. We teach it as well. Yeah. Listening. Yeah. Very important. You're not looking at your phone, thinking about other things when your spouse is talking. Yeah. You have to give that full attention.
She's talking about the things I used to do.
Well, we all know in America, the longest 12 hours there ever was that 12-hour ban on TikTok, where husband and wives had to talk to each other for a little bit. Before we go, like I said, in our new year, rather than doing resolutions, we do gratitude. So I'd like to ask, what do you have gratitude for?
Well, we have gratitude for each other, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, one of the things that we learn to appreciate is what I would call the intangibles. It's the things that we all take for granted. And so that's why in our process, everybody has to do a gratitude journal every day when they work with us and keep it going. And we do our very best to do that. And there are times when we will tell each other, even at the end of the day, what we're grateful for each other.
Yeah. We make it a point, that we let each other know. The other thing we are thankful for is, there are two things came to me. One is Holy Spirit is there. I'm so thankful that, He's there to help us, especially, with our marriage mentorship. Couples come with so many issues that we haven't, dealt with in our marriage. And, so without the help of the Holy Spirit, He has the solution to all our problems. So I'm so grateful, for the Holy Spirit guiding us so far. And the other thing is we're thankful for our children, their spouses, and the grandchild that God has blessed us with. Yeah, we're grateful. Yeah.
Amen. Before we go, is there anything that you would share with our viewers about how they can get in contact with you, find out more about your books, and get educated on any upcoming releases?
So the best place for people to find more about us is our website. We are the SAMS from Canada, so our website is thesams.ca. And there you have information about our book, about our e-course, about how to connect with us. We have our calendar there. You can just book a free consultation with us, and then we'll help you decide if you're a good match for us, and you'll help us discern if you're a good match for us as well.
Nice. Very nice. And that is listed in the description of this episode. So anybody watching, just go to the description. You can click right on that. It'll take you right to their website. Thank you. Thank you. This has been needed for me. I'm going to say it was a bit personal on my aspect of things, having recently gone through a divorce and feeling the way I've been feeling. It's nice to hear that there are good things out there, and not be so um, bitter towards marriage, for lack of a better term. So I like what you guys had to say, and I want to read you guys' book. I think that a lot of people can learn from it and heal. Remember that out there, viewers. You got to heal yourself. So, Jeeva, you said it best: hurt people, and
Right.
heal yourself first, and then you can be there for your spouse, your significant other, and all your friends and everything like that. So thank you for coming on Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement podcast today. I'm going to move you guys over to the lobby so we can wrap up the show, and I'll bring you on and we'll talk a little bit more afterwards.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for
You're certainly very welcome. It was a pleasure meeting you guys. Wow, that was
Useful, helpful,
incredibly
wonderful information. Yeah.
Incredibly. I mean, too many times people will walk away from marriages and walk away from relationships, and they didn't give what they needed to give, or they didn't give it a chance. They just walked on, walked out, and let go.
Yep. That's
very,
true.
very, very healing. So I'm glad to have them on today.
Yeah, me too. I am guessing, no, I know that there are people out there that really needed to hear this and who really need this kind of assistance in their life and in their marriage, and actually to help heal themselves. So I'm very happy that we had them on and that they were so open about sharing with us. I think it was just a wonderful opportunity for people to understand a little bit more about marriage. And I find it interesting. I've always thought this was quite strange. Being an American, we're so used to the concept of getting married because you're in love. And for most of the history and most of the world, that was never an idea at all. No one had ever even come up with that concept. That's not how people got married. So it's an odd thing to think about, but it's something that obviously it's worked in the past. Not that I think we should go to arranged marriages, but there are worse ways probably for people to choose who they're marrying.
If anyone out there wants to arrange a marriage for me, I am down. I'm here. You can reach out to me. I am all for it, man. I'm there. But the love cocktail, I mean, that was huge. I never even thought about that. That feeling of love is really just aspects of emotions and chemicals in our brain and serotonin and all that stuff that makes us feel good, that we automatically assume that is what love is. And yes, I mean, maybe that's the falling in love part, but the true love is being able to dedicate your life to somebody else and be vulnerable and open and be communicative and say, no matter what problem comes along, we're going to work through it together. And
I think that's safety. I've been married for 39 years. And, just knowing that we're there for each other is really something that's very valuable to me. And I think it is to my husband as well. Because we know we can depend on each other. We know that we've been together for so many years, and there are so many things that we share, and shared experiences, and that just bonds you after a while, and if you allow it to, and if you move in that direction. So I encourage people to hang in there.
Absolutely. It's the idiosyncrasies that you will miss. It's those little mannerisms, those little sayings, those little things that you do that only you and your partner know about. Those are the things that are worth living
Your
for.
little secret jokes and
Exactly.
things like that.
Exactly. Exactly. I love those.
Yes.
All right. Well, we've gone 5 minutes over. We don't do that very often. So right on.
No.
Thank you for watching Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement podcast and spending your Sunday evening with us. Be sure to check us out next week for another episode of Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement, where we have another great guest. And we have another couple next week. So something we've never done before. We get to do back to back. This will be fun. But have an awesome week, everybody. Stay safe out there. If you are in the cold front, stay warm, and we will see you guys next Sunday. Have a good night.
Hi, are you an author in the middle?
Whoops, wrong one. My bad.
Ever dreamed of seeing your name on the cover of a book? As a book publisher, we understand the challenges of self-publishing. If you're lost in the process, wondering about illustrators, book coaches, or formatting issues, worry not. At Soul Sunshine, we're here to guide you. Let's turn your dream into reality. Contact us to get started.